Hey guys, how are we all doing? So we've had a bit of action in Bitcoin today, so that's good. Yep. So we will have a look at the chart. So yeah, you can see we were in the sell trade from here. Sadly, we didn't get to the 2%. That would have triggered the bot to start the trading take profit. I mean, oh, it's so close, so close. It's so close. It's pretty annoying really, but it's just how it is. You have to draw the line somewhere. So 2% was the line, sadly. So yeah, so what happened with that trade was we ended up stopping and buying. So obviously we crossed the buy line, but the bot is set up to activate on the close of the next candle. So we don't get wicked out the trade. I mean, we could have obviously got taken out of the trade then if we were doing the wicks or the wicks, but yeah, we've got it set to candle close because I believe looking at the back test, there's quite a few wicks that would get you in trades that you wouldn't want to be in, and wicks that would get you out of trades when you wouldn't want to get out. I mean, this obviously did break up, but it could have wicked through, come back down, and then carried on selling, and wouldn't have triggered the actual full on buy. So it's a close of the candle above the buy line, which is then triggers it to be a buy trade, a buy basically. So that distance there was the loss we took on the trade, which was well, on the chart it's about 1%. Obviously I know exactly what it is because it was on my account, so I can show you when we go into the 3Commas. Yeah, so there's a 1% risk in the end, obviously based on how the price action moved. Wasn't a 3%, but I believe it was a good risk reward trade. I mean, we were selling off nearly at 2% and the potential to break down lower. I mean, you just got to keep trading your edge basically. But what we did do, we took a buy. So we stopped out and went long at this price here, which pretty much is the price it did. I'll show you the exact prices on 3Commas. So yeah, so we went straight up. The market went straight up, well, nearly 4%, but this wick actually went to about 3% first, and then we went to 3.5% first, and then it wicked us out for about 2.5% profit. But again, I'll show you that exactly on the bot. So yeah, so we're out of the trade currently. Not necessarily a bot trade, but I will be looking to maybe get another entry long if we come down, but we stay above the DMT line. Obviously if we stick in strictly to this strategy that we have, then we wouldn't just be putting in buys until obviously we have a sell sign and then the buy signal. But yeah, so that done. There was the alert we had. So that was the alert on the 11th, which was on the 10th, which was the alert for our sell. That ended up giving us about 1% loss. This was the alert for our buy. The next day it ended up giving us about 2.5% gain. We'll go over to the bottom. I can show you exactly. So here we actually have it. I love how it says status panic sold. I mean, you plan well in advance when you're gonna program an indicator to basically trigger to get you out of the trade, and then they call that a panic. I mean, I wasn't like there panicking on my phone anyway. So yeah, so that was the initial trade. So the 1.23% loss. So on the position, that was a $135 loss. And then yeah, that was the immediately flip to buy. And then we hit the 2% trading take profit. We then obviously hit a 3.48% gain, and then retraced 1%, which then took us out at 2.48. So yeah, so we were in that trade for a day, in that trade for 43 minutes. So we're currently overall we will be at a 1.23 take 1.48, so that is a 1.25% gain. So yeah, we're 1.25% up, but that is from one winning trade and one losing trade. So I mean, as you can see, you've got to run your winners, cut your losses. So yeah, so we sold. I'll just tell you where we sold. So I've got the exact numbers on here. We did. We sold initially at 9,910, which I did tell you about that the other day. So it took us out of the trade at 10,019. So that would have been, it's obviously around about where this line is, just above it, 10,019. And then it then had the 6-second delay we programmed in, and then it bought it bought at 10,022, so literally just above it. And then so spiked up, took us out our trade in 43 minutes, and then so the price we got out at was 10,290. So as we're looking at the moment, it's not the worst price to have got out. I mean, it is exactly there. So we're there or thereabouts in this what is in the moment looking like a bull flag, but you never know. You never know. There are some some bearish indications in the market. We may go down, we may go up. It could be flushing out the shorts, the over leveraged shorts, and we could go down. Or we could just be continuing upwards, which will be ideal if we do that. So I'm thinking of we'll see how the next couple of trades go, and if they go well, we could potentially increase the 40% of the account, maybe increase that to 50, maybe 60, and then also I'm looking into I can't set the bot up for a partial take profit on Bitcoin on the same contract, but I'm gonna look into trading Ethereum as well. Ethereum obviously is more volatile. If we just go on to here a second. It's not Ethereum BTC. We'll go on then to Ethereum Bitcoin. So the Ethereum Bitcoin contract. So we would have sold. Would we got the 2% on Ethereum? So we would have sold here. So we would have got the 2. I mean, Ethereum obviously is a bit more volatile, so it'll move more. So we would have locked in it looks like we would have locked in a 1.75% gain on there, and then we would have booked in. I mean, obviously depending on how the wicks are on here, we would have booked in about the same really. That wick probably would have taken us out. But the reason for me looking at Ethereum as well, was because I could hold one of these, have basically a wider take profit, or a wider trailing. So we could have a 2% take profit, and then a trailing take profit of 2%. So in fact, when we get to the 2%, we then go to a break-even take profit, and then we can then run the rest of the trade, providing it doesn't retrace 2%, which I think, especially in a more volatile asset like Ethereum, I think that may be a good strategy for running some more profits. And then the Bitcoin one, where it will still be set at a 2% trading take profit, and then a 1% gain, with a 1% retrace. That's obviously a bit more conservatively locking in profits. So I think that gives us that maybe just give us a good scope then to, obviously Bitcoin, if it does have a massive spike, we still can potentially obviously lock in as more gains if it keeps going without a 1% retrace. But that's quite a tight. When you get a big move, that is quite a tight trading take profit. So I would like to play maybe something more volatile with basically what would amount to a break-even stop loss, but obviously still running the trade. So if we had done this on this trade here, so that trade there obviously would have made us nothing. We'd got to 2%. Well, it wouldn't have made us nothing. We got to 2. What did we get to from the sell? We got to 2.84, 2.8. So we would have made about 0.8% profit. So that's good. So we wouldn't have made nothing. So that obviously not strictly true. But if you're a trader, you know that basically is a nothing. I mean, whether it's a 1% loss, 1% gain, or break even, it's basically nothing. You're going for big wins, aren't you? Big wins and small losses. So, but we would still be in this trade, and we would be currently sitting at a 4.8%, nearly a 5% gain. So you can see how having the ability to run the profit. I mean, fair enough, I didn't lock in the extra 2% here, and I got a 0.4 instead of a 2.84, but instead of locking in what definitely with the same strategy, would have been a, instead of, I mean, if, sorry, with the same strategy, what am I trying to say? So with the 2%, we obviously had a 2.84, but then we basically did retrace 2% without going any further. So we did lose that 2%, and that we had in unrealized profit, and only got a 0.8%. But then in this one, we would have still be holding on to nearly a 5% gain instead of this retrace. Well, if we'd had the old strategy, this retrace would have taken us out, but obviously it didn't take us out, so we would still be sat in a 5% gain. So you can see you sacrificed 2% there, but we are running this trade here, and then I mean, this could come down and test that, but we're definitely going to lock in at least nearly a 3% profit now, because 2% from 5% is 3%. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm actually going to set this up, so I'll let you guys know when I do. And then put it, obviously do the setup and everything for it. In fact, that is what I will do. I'll do a video where I actually set it up, so you can see the whole setup and how I do it. And then we'll have that bot running as well for Ethereum. And then, in the interest of diversifying, I'm going to have a look at some of the BTC pairs, because, I mean, broadly speaking, you expect these other altcoins to move roughly in the same direction, not necessarily the same amount as Bitcoin is going at any given time. So if it sells off, you can expect them to sell off varying degrees relative to what Bitcoin sells off. And then if Bitcoin rallies, you can expect them to rally varying degrees compared to what Bitcoin rallies. So if we have a pair against Bitcoin, we are then, I mean, it's not going to move in exactly the same way. I mean, it will likely do the opposite. If Bitcoin has a big pop, then the alts will initially then maybe go down against Bitcoin, and then as Bitcoin settles out, the alts will then maybe go up against Bitcoin. So it still won't be 100% uncorrelated, but it will be good to add that diversity in there. So I will have a look through which of the alts on Bitcoin, on Bitmex, I think will be a good one to add. So yeah, we are going to develop this strategy. We're going to develop this bot. We're hopefully going to get some more profits in the bank, and hopefully be able to increase our position size as a percentage of the account, and increase our actual overall trades. Vary the strategy on some of them, i.e. the Ethereum USD one, and then so we're going to develop this as we go along, and then see how we can do, guys. So remember, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and all that jazz that's in the description. Don't listen to anything I say ever. And yeah, so I will speak to you guys probably in the morning, although not necessarily, and I may not be in a trade, but I will speak to you tomorrow, even if it's evening or the morning. So thanks a lot for listening, guys.